Calling to order the meeting of the Lunenburg Conservation Commission for Wednesday, November 19th, 2025 at 7:04 p.m. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio, video recorded. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken from these discussions. Not all items may be discussed, and other items may be raised to the extent permitted by open meeting law. Please be advised that the town of Lunenburg utilizes Zoom platform as host for its hybrid and remote meetings, that the Zoom platform utilizes AI technology known as AI Companion to create audio transcriptions of meetings to aid in the subsequent preparation of meeting minutes, and that the AI Companion is activated immediately upon launching the Zoom application. You are hereby notified that this AI technology may capture audio prior to the start of the meeting and or following the conclusion of the meeting. Okay, I'm gonna start with a roll call. Chris St. Germain,
Here.
Andrea Burnett,
Here.
Mary Wilson,
Here.
Teddy Doucette,
Here.
Richard Bursch,
Here.
and I am here, Jenny Putherer. Mike is not here yet. All right. We don't have any appointments tonight. Do we have any public comment from members, from anyone on the meeting? I want a warning that if I mute it, I might be coughing. I'm just trying to get over a cold. All right, does not look like we have any comments from members of the public. We have some meetings, minutes to approve. I am good with approving all of these. I had two that I had, Michael update from the last meeting, and he did get those updated, and I'm good to approve all of these minutes. Does anyone have any concerns about any of the minutes listed on the agenda?
Do you want to have a separate motion for each one?
I think
Or do
if
you?
we could do a motion for all of them if nobody has any problems with any of them.
I would
Right.
make a motion to approve all previous meeting minutes as posted.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
From what I remember, I've only been to one of those, and
that's right. All right, we gotta split them up. Thank you, Andrea. So
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from 9/3.
you're muted, Chris.
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
I
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Also
Sorry
on mute.
about that. Aye.
and I for myself. Okay,
Motion-
and then yep,
Motion
sorry.
to approve the meeting minutes from 3/19.
Second.
Roll call vote. Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett.
I didn't.
Oh, no, sorry. Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
and I for myself. We could do the rest of them as one because it would be all the same people. Andrea and Teddy can't.
Okay. Motion to approve the meeting minutes from 3/5, 2/19, 2/5, 1/29, and 12/18.
Second.
Roll call vote. Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette. Oh, nope, sorry.
Yeah,
Richard Bursch,
I abstain.
Aye.
and I for myself. Sorry, my brain is like a little mush tonight. All right. So that is all of the minutes approved. Moving on to new public hearings. Pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Safe Store Real Estate Company, Co. LLC, for a project that involves floodplain fill and associated compensatory floodplain compensation. Compensatory floodplain compensation. Okay. All right. Do we have the applicant or their representative on the call?
Madam Chair, Greg Roy with Dillison Roy. I'm representing the applicant, which is Safe Store this evening. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for being here.
Would it be acceptable to share my screen?
Absolutely. You should be good to go.
Bear with me. Did I do the right one? Can you see the plan?
That looks like, yep, that's the existing building.
Okay, great.
Good.
All right. And now I've lost all of you fine folks, so hold on. One second. I'm just getting my
Take your time.
Okay, all right. So just a brief introduction to the project, and then I'll narrate a little bit about the specifics, but just starting with the overview. As discussed, this is a property at 30 Summer Street, which is very close to the Fitchburg line, if you're familiar with that part of town. The existing site that you have in front of you has historically been used as an auto dealership. So it is primarily it primarily consists of a small building, which you can see right here. And then everything from this point up and this point up is paved. So there's about an acre, just under an acre, I have it written down here, 0.995 acres of the site is paved today, or impervious, I should say, paved or rooftop. The reason we're here this evening is a little bit different than what we are normally here for. Typically, we were before you because we've identified either a bordering vegetated wetland or a riverfront, a perennial stream or something like that on the property with an associated buffer zone and riverfront area. In this case, there are none of those resource areas on the site, so it's a little bit unique. Most of the time when we're before you, we have at least one of those areas, if not both of them. Here, in this case, we're here only because we have bordering land subject to flooding on the site. And so just a quick tutorial of what that is and how that is defined. Bordering land subject to flooding is defined by the Wetlands Protection Act as those areas that are mapped on the most recently effectuated FEMA flood rate insurance maps for the various towns. So, and it's associated with the 100-year floodplain areas. So if you were to look on the latest and greatest FEMA maps, I'm going to call them FEMA maps, you would see that the elevation of the floodplain on the site is listed in this area as elevation. I think it's 366. Doesn't really matter. There's a significant portion of the site that is indeed within areas mapped as 100-year floodplain elevations. I did want to give a little bit of commentary on this because I think it is at least interesting and probably a little bit germane to the conversation. Our firm started with this project in the spring. We were contracted with Safe Store sometime in the spring, late spring, early summer, and we started down the path. And as luck would have it, FEMA issued their newly revised flood maps about 3 days after we completed our existing conditions survey, which was fortuitous because if we had used the old floodplain maps, we would have had some conversions to do on the site. So I did want to drive home the point that the elevations that we're reporting on these plans are based on the newly published 2025 FEMA flood maps. But a little bit more commentary on that, just because I think it's a point of interest. When we initially looked at this site, when we were putting together the proposal for this, we were still using the 1980s era floodplain maps because that was what was published. Those are, of course, based on old datums, the vertical datum of 1927, a very old, an older datum. New floodplain maps are based on a newly published vertical datum. This is all surveying ease. When we use old floodplain maps with the 1927 datum, we have to convert the elevations to 1988. So all of the filings that we've done in the town of Lunenburg prior to June or July of this year, when the flood maps were updated, we converted 1927 to 1988 because all of our surveying calculations and elevations nowadays are based on that 1988 datum. We expected, when you looked at the conversion of the elevations on that older datum, and you simply convert new datum down to that 1927 datum, we expected that actually less of this site was going to be located within the 100-year flood elevation. As it turns out, when they published the new maps, the flood elevation that they published was actually substantially higher than what they had published if you just did a datum conversion from the old map. And I'm saying this just for your edification because I still remain a bit skeptical that the published flood elevation on the new FEMA maps went in the right direction. It looks to us like they adjusted it in the wrong direction. Be that as it may, the flood maps published, the Wetlands Protection Act defines bordering vegetated wetland, bordering land subject to flooding as referenced on the latest and greatest published FEMA maps. So we have held the newly published elevations as sort of gospel. But I'm giving you this to understand that if the flooding that is depicted on the 100-year flooding were to occur in this part of the town, you would have flooding on Summer Street that I don't think any of us have ever seen. And we've had some pretty big floods over the past 10 to 20 years. I remain skeptical that the flood elevation out there is accurate and true. But I just want to say that irrespective of my skepticism, we've treated it as if it's gospel, and we're going through the process along those lines. So with that, I just wanted to preface, sort of why we're here and sort of a history on late breaking history, if you will, on the updates of the FEMA floodplain in the area and really all of town. So that's kind of affects all of town. But that incremental change did not exist on other parts of town. So that's one of the reasons why I remain a little skeptical, because we didn't see this change in elevation on other parts of town. So I just wanted to make that. And actually, if you just go around the corner, I'm working at the corner of John Fitch and 2A in Fitchburg. The elevation, the modifications to the floodplains based on the same map update actually happened exactly as we would have expected them to. So it's just a little weird. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Be that as it may, we have a site here that's a little bit over an acre, 1.15 acres, I believe, is the existing conditions, is the existing site. About an acre of it, 0.995 acres of it. So just a hair under an acre is either parking lot or roof. And what we were proposing is to convert that existing use to a proposed climate-controlled self-storage facility. So the bulk of the site would be, I'm going to highlight here. The bulk of the site would be converted to a building. That building is a 4-story building. So all of the units are accessed from the inside. That's going to be more germane to the planning board process that's coming up starting next week, Monday. And then there's a small parking lot area that's on the front portion of the site. The balance of the site around the perimeter is all going to be green space and our flood compensation storage. The net result is that the proposed site actually reduces the impervious area on the site by about 15%, almost 15%, about 14%. So we're going from 0.995 square feet of impervious area down to 0.858 acres of impervious area. So it's a reduction of impervious area on the site. I say that because that's important for stormwater management, and it's important for those type of metrics. We could do nothing on the site for stormwater management, and we'll be reducing the amount of runoff off the site, just in virtue of the fact that we're reducing the amount of impervious area, which will allow more of the rainwater to infiltrate into the earth. So I just wanted to point that out. Be that as it may, we have filed along with this application to your board, but also to the planning board, who will be reviewing this. We'll actually be reviewing 3 permit applications that we submitted. They'll be reviewing a site plan review application. They'll be reviewing, now I'm going to forget the middle one. Stormwater management permit, and they'll also be reviewing a floodplain management permit. So we have to get a special permit from the planning board because we're in the floodplain. We have to get a stormwater management permit because we're altering over 40,000 square feet of land area, and we have to get site plan approval because of the commercial use of the property. So we've submitted stormwater calculations to your board to support this filing, but also to the planning board. And we expect that those stormwater calculations, as well as the plans, will be peer reviewed by the planning board's peer review consultant. That hasn't happened yet. So I say that because whatever happens with this meeting tonight, I'm going to give you a little preview. I do not want to put the cart before the horse. I think that your board, in virtue of the fact that this is a floodplain compensation type of metric, I think your board would find value in getting the results of the peer review from planning board. So I want to make sure that that we keep this open long enough to get you that information. And I also want to make sure we run these public hearings concurrently because sometimes there's some things that we have to revise for either your board that will relate to the planning board or vice versa. So I'm just kind of give that as a preface. Finally, I want to talk through. We did get some review comments from DEP when they issued the file number. I want to go through those very briefly, but I want to say that I am going to be providing you more direct backup to this, but I want to give you sort of a preview, and I do want to talk through a couple of them if that's acceptable to you folks. And then at the end of it, I'd like to get any comments and feedback that you folks have, of course, because we want to start to dial in on what we have for comments and questions so we can answer these things in a comprehensive manner. So DEP had 7 comments, and I'm just going to go through them and summarize them and give a few and give my thoughts on each one. Again, we will formally respond to these in the future. I just didn't do that for tonight's meeting because I see this as a little bit introductory in nature based on where we are with the permitting. The first comment relates to the nature of the way that the floodplain compensatory storage numbers were calculated. We have approximately, and we put this on the plan. We've provided a detailed breakdown of how much floodplain we're filling between what elevations and where the floodplain is, where that volume is compensated for. Anytime you fill a floodplain, you have to compensate for that in an equivalent manner, so that you don't lose floodplain storage in the area. We're filling a total of 9,370 cubic feet of fill on the site, and we're providing an additional 11,378 cubic feet of storage on the site. In all cases, at all elevations, we're providing the compensatory volume at or below where we're filling it. And that's really important because floodwaters come from the bottom up. So if you fill the top foot of your bucket and you provide compensation, one way to compensate that is to fill it at that elevation or lower. If you provide that same elevation lower, when the floodwaters come up, you're providing that elevation so that it doesn't even have to get to that point, before you have the same amount of volume. So in all cases, we're providing that compensatory storage volume at or below where the fill is being proposed. So that's number one. Two, and this is one of the ones I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to get opinions from your commission on because you have some discretion. Section 1057 4A3. You don't have to memorize it, but it's a section of the Wetlands Protection Act regulations pertaining to bordering vegetated wetlands. It has a provision in that section for the commission to make a determination that wildlife habitat is not being impacted. And DEP's comment is that the commission may exercise their discretion in requiring a wildlife habitat evaluation as thresholds set forth in that section have been exceeded. I am requesting that you find that in virtue of the fact that the site is completely paved, essentially completely paved, and we're reducing the impervious area and working in the portion of the site that is paved, that a wildlife habitat is not necessary. A wildlife habitat evaluation is not necessary in this case to make that finding, that you can exercise your discretion in not requiring a wildlife habitat evaluation just because of the nature of the existing conditions on the site. It's a site that's previously disturbed, and we're actually going to be reducing the amount of impervious area on the site. So I'm not asking you to make that finding right now, but that's my request to you in respect to that comment. Number three pertains to the interaction between the proposed compensatory flood storage areas that we have on the site and how those relate to the stormwater management system on the site. And I'm not going to go into this. I'm going to say that I'm going to provide you some more information on it. But this relates to the first thing that I said, or one of the first things that I said, is that we can do no stormwater detention on the site, no new stormwater detention on the site, and comply with the peak rate runoff attenuation standard of the stormwater management policy, in virtue of the fact that we're reducing the amount of pervious area on site. So I need to provide backup to this question so that it can be satisfactorily addressed. But I just wanted to give you sort of a preview on that. 4 asks us for soil test pits in the stormwater areas. Again, this relates to the last one. We will certainly provide that if we need it. We may not even need it because we may actually take the stormwater detention off the table because we do not need it to document compliance. But I'm going to sort of leave that a little bit of an open question. If we're going to take credit for these stormwater areas, we will indeed do the required stormwater management soil testing on the site to document that. 5 is a comment related to our TSS calculations, and we have no objection. We'll make sure we provide that backup. And then 6 and 7. 6 is given the extent of the floodplain on the site, that the applicant should depict the location of proposed stockpile areas and additional measures of protection during construction. We have no objections to that. We'll make sure we document that. I would, I guess, push back a little bit that I do not believe that the floodplain on the site is extensive. We're talking about 9,000 cubic feet, so it's not a really large area of floodplain. It's the top part of the floodplain that we're looking to fill. We're barely in. A lot of the site is in it, but barely. So we're not talking about really deep fills. It's really just that, most of the site, the fill that you're talking about is like 6 inches. And it's just like, some of the site is like 6 inches to a foot below that floodplain elevation. So we're not really talking about an extensive amount of volume in this case. But be that as it may, we're happy to comply with that comment. And 7, the commission may consider conditions requiring the submission of an as-built plan to include final site elevations prior to the issuance of a certificate of compliance and perpetual conditions for the proposed compensatory storage areas and stormwater O&M. You would do that anyway, so we don't object. We certainly don't have any objection to that. So I wanted to give you, at least acknowledge those comments. I wanted to tell the commission that we will certainly be submitting you more information as backup to these. And also, we think that in virtue of the fact that our planning board filing, which includes a floodplain filing per that board and has some overlapping metrics, it will be reviewed by a peer review consultant, and I think you'll find that valuable. So I wanted to just make sure I got all that into the record this evening. And now I'll stop talking and take any questions or comments that you folks have.
Thanks so much, Greg. Do we have any questions from members of the commission? Teddy, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, so we went to the site walk last week or last Saturday, and there are trees behind the property. I was curious if those are coming down with this construction project.
Excellent question. Let me see if I can give you a good answer on that. I think the answer is some of them, but I will identify exactly which ones.
Great, thanks, Greg. Richard, you have your hand up.
A couple quick questions. Greg, how far is the edge of the work on this project from the nearest 100-foot boundary to the wetland?
Oh, that's a good question, Rich.
Because it's clearly not in the 100-foot buffer
No.
zone.
Yeah, it's quite a ways, but I'd have to do a little bit more exploration on that. The Baker Brook is on the north side of it. It's like way up here. And it's even further. It's even further than that. So I'd have to look on either in the field or via GIS, Rich. But I can get you that information.
Okay, yeah, just where it wasn't marked on here, I was just interested in how far away it was. But I mean, it's clearly outside of that jurisdiction.
Madam Chair, if I could interject.
Yep, Mary.
Rich, I did a satellite image to Baker Brook and to the corner of the property, and it was like 550 feet.
That sounds.
Yeah, I came up with about 500 or so. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Second question, what is the 100-foot floodplain elevation? I don't know if you said that.
I think it's elevation 366, Rich.
366. Okay, so the top of the slab was what, 367?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're filling we're putting the slab a foot above it so that we don't have any problems with flood insurance. But it's only the portions of the site below elevation 366 that are considered in that floodplain filling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering what the elevation was. So,
yeah, no, good question.
Okay, thank you. Those were my questions. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rich. Chris, you have your hand up.
Yeah, Greg, I was just curious, why did you think that the calculations from FEMA were in the wrong direction? As I understood it, I thought the way I interpreted is that you thought that the flooding elevations should be lower. I would think over time that the flooding would get worse with all the, with buildings getting built up over time. So
yeah, no, and those are two separate things. And let me explain. So when I made my statement, all I was saying was this: when you looked at the 1982, I think, maps, and you found the elevation, I think it was elevation 365, nominally, something like that. When you convert from that datum, okay, which is on the elevation of elevation datum of 1927. I understand that this is very difficult to understand and explain over a Zoom call. We we shoot all of our sites now are shot with the 1988 datum, which is what the new flood maps are based on. The conversion between when you want to take a 1927 elevation and you want to convert it to 1988, what the scale factor is minus 0.8 feet. So a 1927 datum of 100 to report that in 1988, when you shoot the same thing and you want to report it in 1988, you go to 90 nominally. It's not an exact decimal, but it's 99.2. Okay. So when I looked at the published flood elevation, when I first started doing this proposal, I saw it was 365. And then I went over to the new GIS contour information that we have available on the Mass GIS site, which is, by the way, based on 1988 datum. And I converted it. I said to myself, oh, this is good news. Based on our experience with this data conversion, when based on this 1927 datum, the old floodplains, we would report the floodplain elevation with only being a corner of the site. It essentially would have only been up in this location of the site. We did. we proceeded along that line. We did the surveying, and it was actually fortuitous with the timing, because if the timing was different, we would have proceeded under that assumption without knowing that they had updated the floodplain maps until later. We would have discovered it eventually, but it would have been, we might have drawn proposed lines already. It was literally 3 days. When we were finalizing our existing conditions, we realized, oh, they updated the thing. And that's when we noticed that instead of it going down, they actually bumped it up to 366. So it just, we tried calling people to see if they had done new studies, if it was based on new information. We just can't get that information. So we have no choice but to hold it or submit a letter of map amendment, which we may end up doing. But at this point, we believe we can comply with the performance standards, so we just went with it. But I say that to you. So that's a different analysis than what you're saying. When they do a new flood study based on new information and new impervious area and the upgrading of watershed areas, that very well can really and truly increase the flood elevation. And maybe they did that here. They just don't have a published flood study that documents it. So, we have no choice but to accept it at this point. But that's the commentary. So that's all I was trying to say. It's that simple data conversion that usually goes the other way, and it went the other way. It was unexpected in this case.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Chris. I had a question. So I moved here in September of 2023, right as all the flooding happened. Was this area not affected by that flooding that happened in September of 2023 or in July of 2023?
So I'll confess, I didn't drive down here in this part of town, but I don't know of this being a real hotspot. I know that the intersection of over by the mall, around the corner over by the mall, and on John Fitch, on Route 2A is a real bad spot. I'd have to ask Bill Bernard probably if this flooded during those events, but I don't remember it. I don't remember hearing about it, but it certainly could have. I just can't imagine. There's significant portions of Summer Street that are lower than this site. And I just can't imagine that it gets up this high. But I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. But
So I know,
and we
like,
have no choice. We really
cross-
have no choice. The published flood elevation is the published flood elevation. It's just, I say that because I put it in context because I think it's germane. It's not like we have a project that's immediately adjacent to Baker Brook and is really looking to fill some bona fide floodway or floodplain of immediately adjacent to Baker Brook where there's no question. This is like way off, and I just don't see it personally, but be that as it may, it's there anyway.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Does not look like it. Do we have any members of the public? Does not look like that either. So it sounds like you're looking to continue while we.
Yeah, we
Go
open the
through
planning
other-
board, we open the planning board meeting next week, Madam Chair. So I think if we continued for a couple weeks, we'd have some more to share.
Okay, do you want to get on the December 3rd meeting, just in case you have an update or?
Yeah, I think that would be great. And if we don't, well, maybe we'll continue, but I think that would be great.
Okay, yeah, so we're looking for a motion to continue to the December 3rd, 2025
So moved.
meeting.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote, Richard Birsch,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
aye.
Chris Saint Germain,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
I,
and I for myself. Okay, and if you wanted to continue, just if put a note into OpenGov,
Okay,
and then
yep.
I'll get it updated on the agenda.
Okay, great.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody. Appreciate it. See
Thanks
you
so
in a
much,
few
Greg.
weeks.
Have a good night.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Okay, so we just 12. All right, up next we have pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a request for determination of applicability by Robert Hart for a project that involves drilling a water well 56 feet 6 inches away from the edge of Lake Shirley, digging necessary water and retention pits, installing necessary silt fence and hay bales. Do we have the applicant or the representative on the call?
Yes, Madam Chair, Robert Hart is here.
Okay, great. Do you have anything that you would like to share with us?
There's just an existing dwelling that traditionally has used water from the pond to supply its domestic waters. And we're looking to drill a well to clean that water source up and have a reliable source of domestic water. Herlin did a site visit on Friday and, kind of saw the lay of the land. It's a very, very, very small lot. And this is about as best we can do as far as staying within the lot and staying away from septic systems. The Board of Health has already issued its permit to allow us to drill, but because it's within the buffer zone, we need your permission.
Okay, let me just pull up. We have notes from Herlin too that I can read off. Just pull up and see if there's anything that we can share with the commission. Looks like there is a site plan. So I'm gonna share that so everybody can see it. All right, and let me make it normal. There we go. Let me get everything that Zoom puts in my way out of the way. Okay. So I'm assuming can everybody see this? It's a little uh small, but scale that 1/10 of an inch equals 1 inch. Is that what that says?
1/10 of an inch equals 1 foot.
1 foot. All right. I was gonna that doesn't make sense. Okay, so there's the lake. And this is the house right here. Is that right?
It's more to the right. Says
Oh,
existing
existing
cottage.
cottage. There it is.
Yeah,
Okay. And this is existing drilled well, is what it says?
yes, that is
Is
an
that your
existing-
neighbor?
Yes,
Okay. And then yours is proposed drilled well, which would be right here?
correct.
Okay. All right. And then so that's 56 feet 6 inches from the lake.
Correct.
Okay. And then did you say you're getting your water from the lake now?
We had been, yes,
Okay. For your house?
correct.
Okay. Does it go through a does it go through a filter? I'm just kind of curious how that.
Not currently. We don't use it to drink. We just,
Okay. All right. I get it. Okay. Do we have any questions from members of the commission? Oh, maybe let me read Carlin's comments quickly. She said she had an issue uploading photos, so she didn't upload any photos. But where did my notes go? I printed them out though. Okay, so she had some recommended special conditions. It doesn't seem like she had any. Oh, Richard, you have your hand up. I'll let you ask your questions first.
Oh, no, read Herlin's comments first.
Okay, so it doesn't seem like she had any concerns. She said recommended special conditions, install sediment controls, silt fence and hay bales, which I didn't know we were doing hay bales, but prior to construction and maintain until full stabilization. Retention pits must be contained within upland areas and no slurry or drilling water may discharge toward Lake Shirley. Stockpiles must be covered and located outside of the 50-foot buffer. Any disturbed area shall be loomed, seeded, and stabilized immediately following completion. Conservation agent shall perform a pre-construction erosion control inspection. Any modification to well location requires approval prior to work. All equipment fueling and maintenance must occur outside of the 100-foot buffer. Okay, Richard. That was it from Harland.
So do you have to do any other excavating other than the slurry pits to get the equipment in there and get the well dug? Or
No, we should be all set. It's right adjacent to the road, so, we should be fine.
okay, yeah, and I would concur then with the agent's special conditions.
Okay,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
thank you, Richard. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission? It does not appear that oh, Mary, you have your hand up.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I didn't have the benefit of going out on the site walk. Did other members of the commission go out on the site walk?
We did not. We only went to 30 Summer.
Okay.
Herlin had only tagged me with 30 Summer. And then she went out and she was planning on being here tonight, but she had gone out to the rest of the sites. And I was not feeling great this weekend. So
I
30
can
Summer.
certainly understand that. I'm hoarse myself.
Yeah.
So, with this, I
can
just
make-
want to know, is there any tree work that's going to be done associated with this, or is it already kind of cleared area?
It's already pretty open. There'll be no tree work.
Okay. Okay, that's really the only question that I had. Herlin's been out there, Madam Chair, and validated the drawing, consistent with the site itself, the physical attributes of the site. So I'm okay with her special conditions. I don't have any further questions.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Does not. Do we have any questions from members of the public? Does not look like it. Okay, Zoom hates me. Hold on. There we go. Stop sharing. It was hidden. Okay, I think I'd be looking for a motion for a negative determination.
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion for a negative determination incorporating the conditions that our agent had spelled out as
Okay.
far as the silt fencing, the movement of the site, and any other notifications needed.
Okay, and I'll read those out again after a vote if needed.
I second that motion.
Okay, roll call vote. Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Hetty Doucette,
Aye.
and I for myself. Oh, Richard Bursch,
Aye.
and I for myself. Sorry, Richard. Okay, that is a negative determination with special conditions to install sediment controls, silt fence and hay bales prior to construction and maintain until full stabilization. Retention pits must be contained within upland areas and no slurry or drilling water may discharge toward Lake Shirley. Stockpiles must be covered and located outside of the 50-foot buffer. Any disturbed area shall be loam seeded and stabilized immediately following completion. Conservation agent shall perform a pre-construction erosion control inspection. Any modification to well location requires approval prior to work. All equipment fueling and maintenance must occur outside of the 100-foot buffer. All right, thank you so much.
Appreciate your time, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have a good night.
Too.
Oh, Chris, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so how do we know when to go do that pre-inspection? How does that happen? Does the property owner call us saying I'm ready for inspection, or how does that
Yeah.
work?
Yep.
Okay.
So they call the office, leave
Okay,
a message, or put it in OpenGov, and then Herling goes out and does an
Okay.
inspection. Make sure the erosion controls match what's on either the plan or the special conditions.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so up next, we have pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, public hearing on a request for determination of applicability by Kenneth McNamara for a project that involves construction of a shed 16 by 14 feet, approximately 75 to 100 feet from the edge of a stream. The shed will be set on concrete blocks that are 8 by 8 by 4. And that is for 480 Mulpus Road. Do we have the applicant or a representative on the call?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. Okay, can you state your name and your address?
Kenneth McNamara, 480 Mulpus Road, Lunenburg.
Thank you. Do you have anything that you would like to share with us on your
I'm just
screen?
basically constructing a 16 by 14 shed that's roughly 75 to 100 feet from the edge of a stream.
Okay, let me pull up anything that we have here. So I have here, a land map uploaded under the site plan. I swear, whenever I share my screen, Zoom just puts everything immediately in front of what I'm trying to share, which it doesn't, you guys can't see that, but it blocks my view. Okay, so we have this. I'm assuming this is the shed right here,
Yes,
and then this is the stream.
correct.
And what stream is that?
That I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. And then also you plotted over, there are, does that say 50 feet right there?
No, underneath it might have, but that was a different measurement that I took.
Okay. Let's see, there's another page here. Let me see what's on the second page. Here. Oh, so this is just without the
Yes,
measurements. Okay. What did you use to measure this? And I'm just curious also, why can it not be closer to your house?
it's
Is there,
sloped land.
is
That's
what land?
It's sloped, so that's the flattest area.
Okay. Are there any pictures of the site?
I did not provide any.
Okay. What else we have in here? Okay, so this is the shed.
Yeah, it's just a 16 by 14 shed.
Mary, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Are any trees going to be affected as a result of this shed?
No trees.
No trees?
It's grass now.
Okay.
Where the shed will be.
Okay, I was just looking at the satellite image and trying to orient myself. And the applicant is aware that under no circumstances can the shed be closer than 50 feet to the wetland?
Correct.
Okay. I was just keying in on the about kind of part of
Yeah,
the language
it's
around
more-
the
it's more
location.
Like 75 to 100 feet from.
Okay. Madam Chair, it appears like Hurling's been out to that site.
Yes,
And
I
she
have some
left notes, right? And
Yep.
didn't have a particular concern about more extensive wetlands, out in the location that, sometimes when you look at Mass Mapper or other maps that bordering vegetative wetland is not as apparent, but Hurling didn't identify anything of that nature. So I don't have any further questions about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Ted, Richard, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Where this is a perennial stream and it's clearly on the GIS map, we really should be avoiding any sort of disturbance or development within the inner riparian zone, which is 100 feet from the bank of the stream. So I would recommend that the development of this shed be outside of that 100-foot inner riparian zone of the stream.
Okay. So I just pulled up let me share my screen. I mean, this is just like a Google Maps, but so this is the property right here. And it looks like according to the plan, let me orient myself here. Hold on. It's going like this. This is the property. And you're saying, so this behind up a little bit closer to your house is too sloped for you to move it a little bit closer to your house?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. There's an existing shed there now. You can see the dot. That's somewhat flat there. And I obviously don't want to put it in the middle of my yard, and it's kind of what I'm trying to avoid.
So is this the shed you're talking about right now?
Correct.
Okay. Is this replacing that shed?
That shed will be removed, yes.
Okay. And is it going in the same spot as that shed?
No, no,
Okay. You don't want it in the middle of your yard.
no, correct.
And so you're trying in relation to this shed, is it going in the same line as this
No.
shed or is it moving
So-
further back?
If you go diagonal, you see that big tree getting close to the house?
This way?
Yep. And a little bit further up to the right is where that is going to be. So it looks
Okay.
pretty wooded. Yeah, somewhere in that area, maybe a little further to the right.
Okay. And then so the brick is coming through here?
Yes, it comes down and it kind of somewhere around my house, it heads into the neighbor's yard. It takes a left turn and goes into the neighbor's yard and travels down.
Richard, you still have your hand up. Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Or should I X that out?
Madam Chair, I have Mass Mapper up, if that's
Yes.
helpful.
Oh yeah, share your screen. Like,
Okay, so this is 480 right here. I'm assuming everybody
Okay.
can see this.
Yep.
Yeah, and the thing that I I wasn't clear on. Rich was saying this is Mass Mapper shows perennial streams. I thought Mass Mapper showed perennial and to some extent intermittent streams. That might be education for me. Rich, could you clarify? Rich, you're on mute.
Yeah, generally it would be if it's shown like that, but I'm gonna try to bring up the US.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's a more definitive resource. And I think where the applicant said, the nice thing about Mass Mapper is they give you these shadow lines for canopy. And it seemed like the applicant was saying they wanted to tuck the the shed in here, right? So we can kind of do, like this kind of something and see where.
Up to the 107 feet.
Yeah, but you'll also notice that this line is actually not following the contour of the earth, right? So
Yeah.
it's a straight line, and we all know streams don't go in straight lines, right? So if it comes out here and follows the contour of the earth a little bit more, that can make a big difference in the proximity.
The stream is not wet right now. I don't know if that makes it an intermittent stream or not.
Yeah, that's not definitive, and particularly, we're just coming out of and I don't even know if we're out of the drought, but that can make a difference. Rich is looking up the USGS stream stats, and he
Yeah,
can do
it does show on and I can share my screen quick. It does show on the USGS map that it's a perennial stream running past and right through 480.
Okay. Well, that's the definitive resource.
Is
Yeah,
480 the 290? No, that's 296 is 296.
Yeah, this is 480 down here.
Oh, sorry. I have it super blown up, so
Yep.
that's why I wasn't. Okay.
Yeah, so, and again, as long as, I mean, Harlan can verify it as long as she finds the top of the bank, stays at 100 feet outside of that. Looking at it, I'm just, so the house is 150 feet. And it does tail off as we go. So that's the only thing you want to keep development out of the in the riparian zone.
100 feet from that.
Yeah.
From the
Yep,
stream.
from the top of the bank. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, it looks like you said it was 75 to 100 feet from the edge. So if you can keep it at 100 feet or more.
Okay.
Okay.
At this point, Madam Chair, I would recommend continuing and just having Harlan go out and just verify with the owner applicant where the 100-foot line would be, just to ensure prior to our approving the
Okay.
project that he's aware of where the 100 feet is.
Yes, that would be
Okay.
helpful.
All right. Okay. So do we have any other comments from members of the commission? Or questions? Okay, so I think we'd be looking for a motion to continue to December 3rd,
So moved.
2025. Roll call vote, Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
All right.
And I for myself. All right, so we're gonna continue until December 3rd, 2025. And we'll ask Herlin to go out and measure to 100 feet with you so you can make sure that you're keeping the shed outside of the buffer zone
Okay,
or the riparian zone. Okay, uh, someone will be in touch. Or you
Thank you.
can send a note to the office too if you like.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, thank you, Richard. All right, moving on, we have pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws. Public hearing on a request for determination of applicability by Malcolm Parker for a project to install a 5-foot chain link fence between adjoining properties, which includes disturbance of the buffer zones at 40 Hemlock Drive. Do we have the applicant or a representative on the call? I do see we have Malcolm Parker, 40 Hemlock Drive on the call.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, I was messing with Mike. I'm here. Thank you for hearing me.
Hi. Okay, can you just state your name and your address for us?
Yes, Malcolm Parker, 40 Hemlock Drive, Lunenburg, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Do you have anything that you would like to share about this application?
No, it's relatively straightforward and stuff. We previously had a chicken wire fence between us and the adjacent properties, but we recently acquired a small dog and stuff who's quite active and everything. So I would like to put a chain link fence up there to enclose the backyard and sort of keep him to himself, so to speak.
Okay, is there? All right, and this is in here. Okay, so I have two applications for you. One
Oh,
started as
yeah,
I found it. One got stopped, so I'm looking at the active one.
right.
Did you say that is there a fence there currently?
There was just a chicken wire fence,
Okay.
very temporary.
Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen.
If you'd like, I can share my screen where I
Oh,
have
sure.
a photo that was by the fencing company proposal.
Yeah, sure, sure. Everything that you'd like to.
Uh, Okay, so this is our house here. Here's the neighbors on one side. We can't see the neighbor on the other side. But I was proposing to sit there and to put it straight down the property line to an existing tree here. So the whole fence would be 100 feet. So obviously from the water, it's going to be more than 100 feet, but it's within the 100-foot boundary. And this is 50 feet on this side and would stop short of the waterfront by at least 20 feet.
Okay. And there's no fence there's a chicken wire fence somewhere, but there's not
Yeah.
a fence in this area already.
Correct.
Okay. And this is a chain link fence.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mary, you have your hand up.
Yes, Madam Chair, and this is more a curiosity than anything else. If you're not fencing a perimeter, how does that help with the dog? I'm a dog owner myself, and so I'm always curious about solutions.
Oh, well, I maybe I did not completely answer correctly and stuff. Where it is described as having a tree here, from the opposite side of this rather sizable tree down to the water line, there is an existing weld wire fence which has been there since before we moved in here. All right,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's going to cover this section, and this is basically down to almost the water line, and then I have a chicken wire fence going along the water line just to keep the geese out and effectively keep the dog in.
Oh, okay, okay. So I think I'm clear. On the right-hand side, as drawn, that goes to the water line.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you'd said it was 20 feet from the water line.
Well, yeah, it's almost to the water line. Yes, sorry.
Okay, thank you. No further questions from me, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I am not an expert on fences in the buffer zone, but if I recall in other times that this has come up, one thing that we care about typically is wildlife being able to make it past the fences. And I don't think that that would be possible with the chain link, maybe things, small things. I'm wondering, Richard, do you have any opinions on that? I'm curious what you think about this.
I guess my concerns weren't quite pointing towards the habitat, more along the lines of how they were going to be installing the posts, or are we hand digging them? And does any vegetation need to be cut down or removed prior to
No.
putting the fence in?
No,
Okay, we do have some notes from Herlin that I can read off. She did do a site walk. So any soil generated during post setting shall be removed from the buffer zone the same day. No stockpiling, mixing, or washout shall occur closer than 50 feet to the resource area. If machinery is used, refueling and storage must occur outside the buffer zone. Sounds like we'd be looking for hand digging though, if we were to move forward,
Yeah.
maybe.
yes, ma'am.
No clearing or expansion of disturbance beyond the fencing alignment. Any change in fence alignment requires approval. If groundwater is encountered, posts shall be hand set and no concrete washout may occur on site. But it looks like we'd be looking for hand set regardless. Teddy, you have your hand up?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Just question came up in my head. How tall is the chicken wire by the fence? I'm just curious. You said it keeps the geese out, but they
But
fly.
the chicken wire is about 2.5 feet.
Okay, and that keeps the geese out of your yard?
Yes, it does, because our neighbor does not have any chicken wire along his waterfront. And so when I had sit there and originally put chicken wire across my waterfront to keep the geese from coming up and defecating on my lawn, then they would sit there and creatively go up my neighbor's lawn and then my and then transverse across onto our lawn and continue to defecate. That's when I installed a low chicken wire fence along this, basically where this red line is here.
Understood. Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Teddy.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
the only other thing I would recommend, if Malcolm hasn't already, is to contact the building department and make sure that there is no permitting needed through the town,
Oh, that's a good
especially
idea.
where he's working on his property lines.
Very
I know
well.
the town has a whole fence bylaw part of their regulations, so.
Okay. Um, okay. So think we should continue it and let him check with the building department? Because if things do need to be moved, we'd want to know that.
I would
Yeah,
be
we
in
can do it
favor of
either
that.
way.
What were you gonna say, Richard?
I said we could do it either way. Just give him a negative determination. If anything changes from the plot plan, he'd have to come back before us and refile.
Okay.
So.
And what do you think, Mary?
Hey,
Either.
I kind of like to know where it's going.
Okay.
6 of one, half dozen of another. Commissioner Bursch always has excellent recommendations.
That is true.
Thank you, Mary.
Um, okay, yeah, so I guess I'm not partial to either. Do we have either way, if it changes, you would have to come back. So if either,
Understood.
yeah, so Does anyone want to make a motion?
I would motion
Or-
to approve his plan as is and come back to us if it changes.
Okay, so negative determination?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay. And then also with the conditions that Harlan cited. If he doesn't have to come back, but do a roll call vote. Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
and I for myself. So that is a negative determination with the conditions that any soil generated during post setting shall be removed from the buffer zone the same day. No stockpiling, mixing, or washout shall occur closer than 50 feet to the resource area. We are requiring hand digging. No clearing or expansion of disturbance beyond the fencing alignment. Any change in fence alignment requires staff approval. And then if anything changes, if you hear back from planning and you have to change your plans at all, please come back with a new plan for us.
Very well. Thank you for your consideration.
All right. Thanks so much. Have a great night.
You too.
Okay. Moving on to continued public hearings. Pursuant to MGL. I just lost my brain. All right, pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40 as amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, we have a continued public hearing on a notice of intent by the Town of Lunenburg DPW for the replacement of the deteriorated culvert at Northfield Road crossing over Mulpus Brook at 763 Northfield Road. The applicant, which is the town, has indicated that they are still looking to get permission from the landowner. I think they haven't heard back from the landowner yet. So they've requested to be continued to 12/3/2025. Do I have a motion to continue?
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
second? All right, that is Mary with the motion, Chris with the second. Roll call vote, Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right. Sorry. Administrative determinations. We do not have any extension request permits. We have a certificate of compliance request at 55 Reservoir Road. And we have notes on this. It does not look like we have the applicant on the call, but Harlan said applicant submitted as built from Board of Health. The project has been completed in substantial compliance with the order of conditions issued on January 20th, 2016. No outstanding work or resource area concerns were observed. Do we have any questions or comments on that?
I would make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mary.
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote, Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
and I for myself. Violations. We have indicated that there are no updates on violations. We did add, there's one that's added, which is 715 Reservoir Road. I know Harlan is working on that one. And 199 is off and it'll be on the next meeting as a NOI. And then the rest of them that are there's no updates, but 48 Meadow Lane, she's in contact with the property owners. 1168 Mass Ave rear says violation fine to be mailed. Oh, that's actually an update. The violation fine is to be mailed because they must have contacted the property owner at some point. And then 1147 Mass Ave certified mail returned, which is still to figure out what's going on with that. Okay, and then does anyone have any comments or concerns about any of the violations? No. Okay. And then the next thing we have is wait, where is that? Okay. Oh, new business. Topics unknown. Do we have any topics unknown? I don't believe that we do. Okay. Bylaw discussion. I have nothing to add to this right now. I was planning on coming up with some stuff, but it's been a really bad 2 weeks for me. Between I had food poisoning and now I have a head cold. So my brain has been half power. Does anyone have anything that they wanted to discuss regarding that? And then does anyone have any, do they attend any MAC trainings that they would like to offer any insight onto anything that they learned? No. No, okay. Um, so we have notification of well abandonment. This is new to me. At 451 Mass Ave. So there is has anyone else? I'm not sure what the process is here. I have where is it? Share. Okay, so in Herlin's notes, she linked to, can everybody see that?
Yes.
So she linked to this. They're abandoning 32 groundwater monitoring wells at the site. Which is 451 Mass Ave. And it's PMG Station, which is PMG Northeast LLC. They have pursuing final well abandonment stage for the project. These well abandonment activities include work proposed at the site within proximity to an unnamed stream and wetlands area. Monitoring wells are depicted on the attached site map. GES is abandoning 32 groundwater monitoring wells, including 19 wells adjacent to the wetlands area, as shown on the attached figure. Specifically, the surface water body of the unnamed stream would be considered a stream or creek, representing the applicability of such areas, subject to protection under the Mass DEP wetlands protection rules. Wells would be pulled by hand or cut below ground surface if not able to be removed. Bentonite chips would be used to plug the wells. Road boxes and concrete would also be removed by hand. So is this something that anyone has experience with on the commission?
I have no experience with this. Could we look at the diagrams?
Yeah. Let me move this out of my way. I know you guys can't see it, but it's in my way. Okay, so looks like these are the wells. There's a wetland here. Is there a key of some sort?
So
Oh,
was
it's
there
a
anything in the
circular pit.
description as to why the wells were initially put in place?
Um,
This is not one I'm familiar with.
These are monitoring wells. They don't, right? Just
they're
monitor.
groundwater monitoring
Correct.
wells.
Yeah, so
It might be associated with the Massachusetts contingency plan monitoring hazardous waste or oil spill.
That would make a lot of sense because there's a gas station at the corner, right? So
Yeah, so there's
It-
probably something to tip somebody off that there was at one point a spill of oil or hazardous material and that the wells were there to monitor like movement of some hazardous material or oil.
I'm not sure if there's action that we need to take on this, though.
Well, I
mean,
was just reading because I don't know anything about this either, and I asked, is there issues with abandoning monitoring wells? Are there environmental issues? And said yes, there are significant environmental issues associated with improperly abandoning monitoring wells. So it's I initially thought, what's the big deal? But I guess it is a big deal. So
Yeah, if there's like something there that, I mean, it sounds like a mass DEP jurisdiction. Um,
nope, that's not it. Wait, where did I go?
Madam Chair, if I might,
Yeah.
I I think I would recommend that maybe Herland get in touch with the notifier and ask why the wells were there and why they're being abandoned, because I didn't see that, when you were showing the letter. And and then maybe she could ask DEP what actions we should be taking here
Okay. Yeah, I
or
think that sounds,
considering.
yeah, I agree because if those wells were used to track contaminants, it's very it's to decommission them is it's a process because you don't you if you don't do it correctly, you could actually introduce contaminants into the environment. So we have to find out what those wells were doing.
okay. Yeah. I can ask Carolyn to talk to the property owner. It looks like she has because they addressed the letter to her, so we'll just have her reach back out.
Was that even the
And
property owner? It seemed like it was an agency.
oh yeah, I guess let's see. She talked to somebody
Madam
from,
Chair,
yes.
actually, in reading this again, they are assuming an exemption that I don't think is in our wetland protection bylaw, our local bylaw, which
Okay.
would require them to file at minimum an RDA.
Okay. So they're thinking that there's an exemption that's not requiring them to file an RDA, but they
Yes,
should be at
the
minimum.
proposed work is considered exempt from the required permitting
Oh yeah.
application, RDA or NOI, but that exemption does not exist in our wetlands protection bylaw because it is clearly work near or into the wetlands as they state in their letter.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and obviously, if they're going to be removing boxes or cutting boxes or filling boxes, there will be disturbance in and around the wetland area that's not exempt under our bylaw.
Okay, yeah, so let's have Harlan get them to file this
Yep, yeah,
properly.
inform them that it's not exempt under our local wetland bylaw.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank
Rich.
you. Okay.
All right. Okay. So we'll have Harlan work a little further on that one. Okay. Let me. Okay. Where am I? Conservation budget. I'm still trying to find the Sean Kelly fund. I have to work a little harder because I guess those funds are hidden to regular employees, so still working on that. And then at the next meeting, I'll have the other funds, what's the word I'm looking for? Balances? We don't have any encroachment issues. Hollis Road residents, an update is that the Hollis Road residence is mostly, the custodian has mostly moved out. There's not a lot remaining. They're still kind of moving stuff out as we go. I'm getting some quotes to have some people come out and do some cleanup. I have not gotten an official quote back yet. I've reached out to two companies. So I would say at the next meeting, I might be looking for a vote for some funds to have some people come out and do a cleanup. But other than that, there are no updates. Mike usually updates, but he actually messaged me and said he's not gonna make it tonight. So there's not much else to update on that right now, but there will be more updates at the next meeting on the Hollis residents. Committee reports, Teddy, Master Plan Steering Committee.
Yeah, so we had a meeting on November 12th, where they discussed the tour notes from the town hall and Ritter Building in Turkey Hill, which I can discuss further if you guys would like.
Sure.
But yeah, so the town hall, they said like had good bones, like it was structurally sound, and should be maintained, preserved, and renovated. But
Okay.
they need to fix the lift for the to be like ADA compliant. Kim Duffy said that she used it and it works, but it needs to be more like it needs to be renovated and fixed up a little bit. She said it was kind of scary going in it, despite it being safe. And she said it should be made more ergonomic and easy to use. Because like as an able-bodied person, it was still difficult to use. So you wouldn't want to be disabled and have to use something that's not, um, easy. The Ritter building, they want to renovate and put in an elevator again to make it ADA compliant, and they want to upgrade the meeting rooms to make them just like up with the times because they lack technology for efficient meetings. And for Turkey Hill, it seemed like a high priority project. And
He
it
has
seems
the
like,
elementary school.
yeah, the layout of the building, like rooms aren't used for their original purpose. Like for example, some classrooms are used as offices. Locker rooms are not used as locker rooms. Instead, they're being used for storage or the policeman's office. Um, the art room was moved at one point and doesn't have a sink in the room. And the whole building, I believe, needs air conditioning. And
Okay.
there's probably more that I did not write down, such as like needing a roof. And the question in the room was like, how many projects do we take on as a town?
Yeah.
Because all of these are not small projects; they're all pretty expensive, and there are other things on the list like Marshall Park, that we want to get up to date. We went on a tour. Kim Duffy and I went on a tour with the Parks Commission to Marshall Park to discuss the problems there. One of the biggest problems I think was the flooding on the 90-foot baseball diamond. And I emailed Karen, the chair of the Parks Commission, with like some potential solutions that I read at our library for how to better infiltrate water into the ground. But it sounded like the plan for Marshall Park was to maybe put in a drainage system to just move the water because there's a problem at Marshall Park where it rains and then the water just kind of sits on the baseball field, and the baseball field still might be used and it just tears up the field.
Is Marshall Park like I've never been. I know. I've been here 2 years and I've never been there. Is that like a sports field for the schools? I always
Yeah,
thought it was like a park.
yeah. So there is a jungle gym. I believe there's potentially going to be a skate park being put in. The jungle
Correct.
gym is going to be renovated.
that's where the skate park is going.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay. That's fun.
Yeah, and there was discussion about like how do we want to like use Marshall Park, because there's three fields. There's like a baseball field, like a t-ball field, and a softball field. And there's a basketball court, but it's kind of overrun with like foliage and whatnot. Like it's not used, so it just gets taken over by the environment. And I feel like the whole park has a lot of potential, and it's just like how does the town want to go about using it, and what do they want it to be in the future? Um,
Has
for,
it been there for a long time? I don't know
Yes.
why. Like I thought it was new for some reason.
They just got a grant to do a bunch of work there.
Okay.
A grant.
We'll check it out someday.
yeah, it's cool. I would definitely like to see it be used more for not just baseball, you know. I asked Karen about the potential of maybe using one of the baseball diamonds and maybe replacing the other diamonds with, I don't know, just like something else, just so that it's something that more people have access to, because if it's just for like high school baseball, it's being used like 3 months out of the year.
Is
Um,
that the is that where the high school plays baseball?
I don't think it's well, I don't know. Rich may know. I know younger leagues are playing there.
I believe so,
Okay.
but I misunderstood, or maybe they practice there or something. But they discussed that like parking is definitely an issue when they have games, because there's not good parking on either side of Marshall Park. And there's like a fire hazard on, I forget what the street is called. I want to say Cherry Street, but that might be wrong.
Chestnut.
Chestnut. Okay. Yeah, Chestnut Street gets like lined with cars, and it's a fire hazard because like a fire truck cannot make it down that road when um there's excessive parking. So they, I think, want to address that and put additional parking on the other side of the park. And we're going into winter, so I don't know how much they're going to, I don't think they're going to really do much until next year. But definitely keep Marshall Park in mind. Oh, when I was there, Kim Duffy asked me if we had any jurisdiction over area that was not like wetland. And I
Yep.
was like, oh, interesting that you say that, because we just went to the area subjected or subject to flooding.
Yep.
So I was curious if Marshall Park falls under that jurisdiction because it floods.
Significantly. So that map, if you go on, hold on, I'll pull it up. So there is, if you ever want to see if something is BLSF. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
So that's what's Marshall Park's address? Does anyone know? Chestnut Street?
Just
Let's
go to the
do-
center of town.
that's east. Okay, I can do it. All right. Ludenberg is here. And then the center of town. Look at me knowing where things are.
Yeah, you just Marshall Park. There it is, right there. Up to your upper left.
My upper left.
It's marked on the map.
Marshall.
Keep going. Upper left. Upper left. Keep going. Keep going.
West.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
upper left is over
Keep
here.
going. Yeah.
Warmer.
Keep going. Keep going.
It was
Keep
there until
going.
you
You
zoomed
can
in.
get
There
there.
it is.
Yep.
Ah, okay. All right. Oh yeah, there's a big wetland right here. There's actually a wetland in Marshall Park.
The skate park was actually an RDA.
Oh, okay.
Might have been an NOI.
So, and then is it, so there's a baseball diamond here, it looks like.
Yep, and that's the big one, I believe. And on, yeah, on Chestnut Street, there's like excess, like parking, like overruns that street.
Okay.
And so they want to put parking, I think, at the other side of Marshall Park. Um, and they want to, if I'm remembering correctly, they want to like kind of rip up the field and put in a drainage system onto, leading to that, I believe, the east side of that park.
Okay.
Madam Chair, do you know how we verify if that's the most current FEMA data? I mean, we just had consultants talking about the FEMA maps were updated this year.
So I do not know how to verify that, but where is, so this is actually where I found the BLSF before we went to 30 Summer Street, because this is not something that I was familiar with. And all right, so now let me zoom into,
Yeah, you can see Hickory Hills Lake and yeah,
is that,
Whalum Lake. It's
I
in
always
between
look for
those three.
Wayland.
You're missing it. Yeah, there you go. That's Hickory Hills.
That's Hickory Hills. There's Wayland. There's
There's
Wayland.
Whalum.
All right. Mary is our map guru. Okay. So this must be the center of town here.
Yeah, and that gray area is Marshall
Oh,
Park.
there we are. Okay. So the 100-year flood, so you can see what it looks like over here. So this is what they're calling the 100-year, and then this is the 500-year. So it does not appear that that area is on any of it, but let's see if it says what year this is. I mean, you would hope that it's the most recent, but there's no. Yeah, this page was last edited on April 3rd, 2024. So, um, it could be different if this page hasn't been edited since 2024 and they just updated it.
Yeah, there's no floodplain up there. I mean, it's the biggest problem with that area is just high groundwater. It
Yeah.
just doesn't drain. I mean, it's never drained.
Hmm.
So, and I know there's been discussions of parking and development and things like that up there for years.
So yeah, there's definitely, I mean, there's definitely wetlands there though, Teddy.
Yes, they're on both sides.
Yeah. Does not look like there's any BLSF though.
Okay, so but we do have jurisdiction there then, it seems so.
Yeah, in the in the areas that are in the buffer zone. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah, there was an NOI there a few years ago, I think, for a septic system for the bathrooms.
Well, and there definitely was for the skate parks too.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's clearly wetlands up there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Teddy.
Yeah, and then our last meeting for the master plan steering committee is on December 10th. That's our last time to give feedback to the like consultants before they come back for the new year with a final plan. And then I believe the master plan committee is going to be dissolved and they're going to form an implementation committee.
Okay, like a task force? No,
Yes.
task force is
First,
before the committee, right?
perhaps I asked Kim about it, and she gave me the rundown. She just knows that or she doesn't know what it's going to look like, who's going to be on it, etc.
Okay.
Just yet, but we expect to hear back from the consultants from over under mid to late January, I believe.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right, so open space. Chris, do you have any updates?
We
From
actually
open
had a
space?
meeting tonight, so,
Ow.
so,
And you chose to be here?
yeah,
Well, that was nice of you.
yeah,
Well, thank you for being here.
yeah. So I'll get an update next time we join.
Okay. All right, thanks. Stormwater I was not there last night because I didn't want to get anybody sick. But Stormwater, Bill did a presentation last night at the special town meeting, which I did watch this morning, on the recording. And he did a great job and he, was asking for more money for, the consultant that we are moving to because we've had some issues with the other consultant who does a lot of other stuff for Bill that does well, but they just weren't prepared to get us over the finish line with the stormwater utility. So we're moving to another consultant who's worked with other towns to do that. And that was approved for the funding, so that's great. So yeah, we'll start talking to other committees. We have the consultant kind of help socialize some of what we're working on with FinCom, Select Board, and maybe hold some meetings in town. Not maybe, we are going to hold some meetings in town regarding the stormwater utility. And that's what's happening with stormwater. We meet again in December. I think December 5th or 4th. No, maybe the 11th. One of those days. All right. Do we have any? Hold on, I'm gonna cough. Sorry. Do we have any communications or public comment? Does not. I don't think we have any public comment. No communications. Our next meeting is December 3rd at 7:00 p.m. on Zoom. And other than that, I think I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn so I can go to bed.
So
And Mary
moved.
could go to.
Second.
All right, Richard with the motion and Teddy with the second. Roll call vote. Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnap,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
All right.
and I for myself. Adjourning at 8:46 p.m. on 11/19/2025. All right, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
Thank you,
Thanksgiving
Jenny.
Thank
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
Well,
and stay not sick. Don't go near anybody that has a cold. All right, good night.
night.
Good night.